Paltrocast.
Sascha, thank you for taking the time. How's the day going aside from answering the same questions over and over and over again?
It's good. It's good. I keep with each question, I keep getting better at it. So I can't wait to see what I do here.
So before I ask about this new season, last few years, 1992, By Any Means coming soon, Cliffhanger coming soon, Power Origins, etc. How does this all get done?
I mean, it gets done by the skin of my teeth. I mean, that is, I will say, Darren, that is the nature of the entertainment business, or at least the movie and TV business at this point, which is you have to have multiple things happening at once. But some of those projects are older projects. By Any Means is a script I wrote, I think 6 or 7 years ago, that's been around. And so, but yeah, I mean, look, to do this, you have to have a lot of balls in the air at this point. And so I've been fortunate that some of those balls have sort of, someone's caught them. So that's what's up.
So this is the final season of this, and I understand there's a lot of emotions that come with the final season of anything. Emotions aside, was it easier to make than the last season?
Was what easier to make than the...
This wonderful Stars series that we are here to talk about today.
Right.
Yeah.
Was the last season easier to make? I don't understand the question.
Was this season easier to make than season 4 in terms of, yes, there's new people involved, but you have the crew established even further. You have the cast established. You know where the characters are going?
I mean, it's not a final season is really, really challenging because you want to make sure that you're giving the audience a satisfactory and satisfying ending to this story that they've invested so much of their time, energy, and emotions into. So, that there's a lot of pressure. And there are many shows that have not necessarily stuck the landing. And so you don't want to be one of those shows, frankly. And yet at the same time, you don't want to compromise your own vision and sort of integrity to try to answer, every fan tweet, every fan Instagram put. You want to make sure that you're true to yourself, but at the same time, I have a deep, profound respect for our audience, and I want to make sure that when they're done watching this show, they feel like they got a true conclusion to the story that they started 5 years earlier.
Does that mean that there's a show Bible in the writer's room? I've heard the South Park guys talk about, they look to see, have we done this premise before, or what is the middle name of that character?
Yeah, I mean, look, what those guys do is truly incredible because, they're generating so much stuff and they're generating it so quickly. They probably have to keep track of it in a way that I don't necessarily have to keep track of what we're doing because they do. I mean, what they're doing is truly just amazing. Look, yes, we are always keeping track of this stuff. Is there one document that exists that has everything? Not necessarily, but we have people who are always keeping track of, because we also have to, of course, to your point, go back to Power, the original Power, and make sure, so that's the other, and it's a good point, that's the other piece of this final season, is that there's stuff that exists in the original Power, questions that were asked in the original Power that we are actually sort of tasked with answering in this series. So, there's just a lot of stuff that you got to get done in a final season. So I don't know that, to go back to the very first question, I actually think a final season is the hardest season in some respects because the stakes are the highest.
And last thing before I let you go, I didn't break any embargoes by saying Power Origins, correct? And you are part of that?
Correct. Yep, I'm the showrunner on that.
Yes, sir. My nephew may or may not have been in a flashback scene, but either way, looking forward to that. Congrats on the continued success and really looking forward to what's to come from you, Sascha.
Okay, great, Darren. Good seeing you, man.
Paltrocast.
First question I have for you is a two-parter. First, how are you today, despite answering the same questions over and over again? And second, do I call you Rebecca Amazing, or is that after you you get the Instagram follow back?
Listen, I'm doing really well. Thank you so much. And that's a choice you get to make. That's for you. People have a really hard time pronouncing my last name, which is Amzallag. And amazing is just, what I like to call myself. So,
was that a punk rock name in your background? Did that sounds like an alter ego that you'd have in a punk band?
I mean, a punk band. I mean, Rebecca Amazing feels more pop to me. When my brother and sister and I were younger, people would use Amstel Light as our last name, which feels like a little bit more of a punk rock name. So I'd go Rebecca Amstel Light as my punk rock name.
Well, whatever it is, we're not here to talk about punk rock names. We're here to talk about the recent success, the upcoming Netflix series, etc. How long did you have to keep it quiet that you had this great Netflix role coming up?
How long? I mean, till like I don't know, a month ago. No, it's not true. There was a deadline article, I think, probably a couple months after the booking. And so they do everything. We just follow Netflix. We love Netflix. We follow happily and allow them to set the tone.
Was a lot of prep needed for the role? The reason I ask is because reboot or not, sometimes you have the extra pressure of looking at old scripts or looking at old shows, and other people go, no, it's fresh. It's totally something new. Doesn't matter what happened in the past.
I'm really lucky my character didn't exist in the books or in the original series, so I didn't have that pressure. I know that all of the characters that appeared in the previous projects do have that pressure. What I found really cool is that the way Rebecca Sonnenschein and her writers took on this adaptation was very in line with the book. So the scripts read the same way as the books do. So it feels very smooth and it feels very authentic to what was written so long ago. It was terribly easy to prepare for this effort for sure, but it was a clear direction as opposed to sometimes projects. It's not that the actor has the burden of creating, but the world isn't as terribly clear. And so because the world is so clear, not just from Rebecca, but also from, Laura Ingalls Wilder creating such a cool universe because A, it existed, and B, her child point of view was so clear. It's very accessible. So I mean, I won't speak for the rest of the cast, but it was a dream to prepare for this part.
How did it work with having Rebecca too, as I'm going to call her, around in terms of having the same first name? Did that cause any confusion on the set?
Nobody thinks of me on that set when they think of Rebecca. I'm important and I am valuable, but Rebecca is the queen of that set, and rightfully so. So there wasn't a lot of confusion. They would say, "Oh, Lacey Rebecca." I was not Rebecca number one.
Had you worked with anyone from the casting or crew before landing the role?
Had I? One of my dear friends is a cast member. His name is Michael Hawke, and he plays Eli James. But other than that, I had not worked with anyone because Winnipeg has its own set of crew and people, and then all of the other executives were from the States. So I'm really trying to think, because if I did and I'm forgetting, I'll feel pretty dumb. I really just think that Michael was my only pal on set, and then everybody very quickly became pals.
I want to come back to the Winnipeg thing in a second, but in general, one of the things I was trying to figure out was how much actual wilderness there was versus studio and or CGI wilderness. Can you fill me in on that? Because sometimes you find out that studios actually have wilderness kind of sets.
We did have a wilderness set, and I'd say I shot on it maybe a couple times. Everything was done outside. It was so beautiful. And what's fun about Winnipeg is that because of where it is in the world, we had light from like 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. The days were extremely long during the summer. So the different types of light, but there was so much time to shoot outside. And the town they built was unbelievable. So they built the Ingalls homestead, the entire town. There were so many different parts of Winnipeg that they used as their, actual outdoor set. And they really dressed it beautifully, whether it was with buildings or just, with our horses. And there was a lot of horseback riding outside. That was very real, not in studio.
Had you filmed in Winnipeg before this?
I'd filmed in Winnipeg a few times, both in the summer and the winter. The winter, polar opposite, literally, short days, extremely cold. but the folks in Winnipeg are incredible. They do not, they're a humble folk. They don't take themselves too seriously. They're happy-go-lucky. It's a great place. I would shoot in Winnipeg in a heartbeat, anytime.
When I was a kid, you'd hear about stuff being filmed in Vancouver all the time. You know, Toronto to some extent, but nowadays with your show and from, mainstream stuff seems to be filmed all over Canada. Was that the case all along aside from Canadian television, or just something you're noticing in recent years?
No, it's been the case since I started working, at least, and I know before then. I forget when this stat was true, but Toronto is the third largest shooting location in North America, or was a few years ago, other than Atlanta and Los Angeles. So we have so many studios in Toronto. So you can do, like, there's a Netflix studio, there's just an incredible amount of created space, but also because Ontario is massive, the people shoot in Hamilton, in North Bay, all Sudbury. Winnipeg is relatively new, and Winnipeg, the province is working hard to stimulate film work in the province, giving really, really good opportunities to production teams, et cetera, to come use their crew and really kind of bolster up that industry there. Vancouver is still busy, from what I understand. I've never shot in Vancouver, which is funny to me. It's definitely by far the most beautiful part of Canada. I'm going to say that as someone born in Montreal and who lives in Toronto. But I've shot a lot in Montreal. That's also a place where people like to use Montreal as New York or Montreal as Europe, because you can really fake it well, and it's a lot easier than shooting in Europe or in New York.
Yeah, prior to hearing all this, growing up, my Winnipeg knowledge was basically a bunch of famous professional wrestlers are from there. The hockey team, that's it.
That's it, huh?
The Jewish community of Winnipeg, that's it. That's all I really knew. And now it's exciting to see that it's opening up as a filming kind of place.
Yeah, big time. I'm thrilled for them, and they're meeting the challenge really well.
Sure. So is this the last thing that you filmed, or the last thing you're allowed to talk about filming? Sometimes you never know. People go, oh, I made that 3 years ago and had a sequence.
Luckily, that was just last summer, so it doesn't feel like long ago. But no, I recently shot a Craig Zoller movie in Toronto. It stars Vince Vaughn and Theo James and Patrick Schwarzenegger. And I don't know if you're familiar with any of Craig Zoller's movies.
The name sounds familiar, but what are some of Craig's movies?
He did Brawl in Cell Block 99 or Bone Tomahawk. So extremely violent, wonderful kind of buddy movies in a sense. Or, not necessarily buddy movies. I'm thinking of the Brawl in Cell Block 99, where it was just Vince Vaughn against everyone. But they're so fun, and they really bring back the violent fun movie that doesn't feel like it's very different than Tarantino's style of fun violent, and much more in the world of an action buddy movie. Really fun. So working with him was a dream, and I don't know when it comes out, but it was wonderful and really exciting.
Are you allowed to say in that movie whether you were funny or violent or both?
I was neither.
Well, the key is you're in what sounds to be a great movie, and I look forward to seeing that.
Thank
you. Learning more about you, the last 2 or 3 questions before I let you go.
Sure.
When you're not busy with being on set, because being on set is a lot more downtime than the average person really realizes, what keeps you busy, or where do you choose to spend your time and energy?
Both a choice and an obligation. I have an almost 2-year-old son, and we do a lot of hanging out. He's wonderful, and he's in daycare, so I have time during the days to concentrate on auditions and
Sure.
doing beautiful interviews. But we hang out all the time, him, my partner, and I. And other than that, I'm a big community gal, so I spend a lot of time with recovery community and friends, fellows, like just really getting engaged in the neighborhood, and we just moved a few months ago. So I'm really into being in the place I am. Other than that, what else would I do? I tutor French, which is so sweet. I tutor at an all girls school, so I do that, an hour or two a week, and it's really nice. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all my time is full.
That's very interesting. That's a mix of community, making the world a better place, etc. Now, when you're raising a 2-year-old, what kind of entertainment do you gravitate the 2-year-old towards? Because you could do the typical Baby Shark kind of stuff, or you could do the mindset of going, they don't know the difference. I could put on the Ramones. They don't know the difference.
We definitely don't play typical kids music in the house, and he is very responsive to all types of music. He loves to dance. We have him in dance class at the community center once a week, which it's called ballet, but it's really just like, can we get them to stand in a circle? Yeah. But we, from the moment he wakes up in the morning, there's a painting in his room, and he points at it and says outside. And anytime he's talking to anybody all he wants is to be outside. That is from the moment he gets up. And if we come inside at night to have dinner or go to bed, he is heartbroken. This kid doesn't like have any interest in being indoors, which is cool for someone so young. And as far as what he gets to watch, there's a wonderful French show called Choupi. I'm not sure what the animal is. It is 7-minute episodes. It's fully French, and I found it on YouTube, and it is the greatest thing that's ever happened. So Choupi for all of the French speakers. If you have young children, it's 10 out of 10.
So it sounds like you chose the right series to be part of, given that you have an outdoors child.
He learned how to, well, he didn't learn because he just sat there, but he did some horseback riding himself. We spent so much time outside in Winnipeg, lovely parks. He's just, again, no interest in anything other than being in the great outdoors. So 100% on brand for us. Yeah.
Wow. Well, congrats on this new show. Looking forward to seeing that. Looking forward to seeing the Craig movie.
Which is called The Bookie and the Bruiser, I should say. The Bookie and the Bruiser.
And to confirm, you are neither the bookie nor the bruiser.
I am neither the bookie nor the bruiser.
Well, Rebecca, awesome. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to what's to come. And the best way to keep up on the latest and the greatest, is that the Instagram, or is there a website, or what's the deal?
Oh, just, on Instagram, Rebecca Amzallag. It's I'm there.
Paltrocast.
Thank you both for taking the time. I'll throw the first one at Bron. First of all, do I call you Bron? Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay.
Well, when did you find out that White Belt was getting into Tribeca?
Actually, my wife found out first because I had I sent many films back then, not many, but like few in the beginning of my career, and was always like, we regret to inform you. So at this time, I was like, it's her film. Let her, like she be in charge with where it goes and how it goes. So we submitted it, and she got the phone call. I was like, oh.
I think we found out around a month ago.
Yeah.
We got a phone call. So yeah.
Wow. And then what's the timeline on that versus actually finishing White Belt? Because, I assume films usually take 2-3 years to make.
Yeah, so it was for a short film I have a few short films, but for this one was particularly challenging. We had issues with the DCP, we had some issues with the sound mixing, so it was always we would see it in in a testing room, it was okay, and then later on it wouldn't be okay. So there was few things that I had to go back and forth, were adjusting, but it took some time. I think we
filmed the film summer 2024, and then went into post-production fairly shortly after.
Yeah.
But the music and all the things, there's quite a lot of music in the film too. So the rights and all of that took a little bit. But I think all considered, it's actually a fairly fast movie for us.
Yeah.
Did it take a lot of convincing to want to be the feature subject of a documentary?
Yes. I never thought about myself being the main subject of a documentary or doing any, I'm only 32 now, so it also doesn't feel like that's the time for me to yet make a movie about my life. But yes, my husband was the one who kind of propose it to me. And at first it started as just capturing the journey. And then with all the stories and interviews, it became basically like the whole spectrum of my career and growing up in the industry. So, yeah.
Did you know what was said in the interviews and what was shown in the footage before you saw the final film?
Yes. I think because we work so closely. I mean, Bran is my husband. So
Sure.
there was very little to be hidden. So I don't think I didn't know what the question's going to be when we were doing the interviews. But I think as I was answering a lot of the questions, I was also going back with a lot of my memories and trying to call back the moments from the fashion industry, how that made me feel and how it was. So it was very reflective overall, the whole process of making this film.
The reason I was asking about that, and knowing that you two are obviously so close, is a lot of times when somebody's the subject of a documentary, they say to the filmmaker, I hate looking at myself on camera. I don't want to know any of this. You do your thing. That's fine. And they never actually see the film about themselves because they say, I lived it. Why do I need to watch it? So that wasn't the case for you.
Well, the reality is that I do not like to look at myself. And it's funny to say because I do this for 20 years almost now, where I look at myself on the screen.
Yeah.
And I do get a little uncomfortable, especially when it comes to, I think photography is a little different because I get a distance from the photo and myself and the person that I'm trying to make an image of. But when it comes to video and hearing my own voice, it's definitely not something that I think most people enjoy. But
we enjoy it. All of us at Tribeca, we're going to enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh, well, got to hear. But me, myself, it's definitely, it's uncomfortable. And then with this one was a little bit different because I think it was the first time that I wasn't acting or pretending to be somebody else. So when I saw the first cut, it was truly the first time that I think I saw something being made about me and I felt proud. So that was a big thing for me because I wanted this to feel this way. So it was thanks to my husband and thanks to his editor that they really made something that I truly felt proud.
I'm glad to hear that. And for Tribeca itself, some people get to enjoy it because they go to the parties and they go to other people's screenings, and other people just have to do press nonstop for 5 days and sit at 4 screenings. Which Tribeca are you going to be experiencing, both of you?
I think both. It's one of our favorite festivals, so definitely we're gonna go and watch as many movies as we can. I think it's an incredible lineup this year, like 25 years of the festival, and just the selection that we had a party here a few weeks ago, and so I had a chance to meet a few filmmakers, and just the movies that I heard, even the little synopsis from it, I really want to go and see it. So I think we're gonna try and do both.
Great. And my last question for both of you: white belt to us is new. It's not new to you two because you lived it, you were around it, you had to wait for Tribeca. Are we allowed to know what's next from both of you or either of you, or do we just have to follow you on Instagram and that's how we'll find out when it's time?
Maybe answer that.
I mean, I think the movie was beginning of a lot of changes for us, but we're continuing creating. My husband is working on a feature film that hopefully will soon be finished. It's in post-production now, but it's 11 years of work coming all together into one film about his mother. So that's very, very exciting for us. So I think we'll take the most out of Tribeca to also try to set ourselves up for the next things to come.
That just blew my mind. I mean, you're working on that at the same time as working on this.
Yes. Well,
amongst many other.
Well, the other one, I have to say it's a personal story. Monica is in it. She's reenacting my mother's life, but her life story and her sort of journey with following her jiu-jitsu was very much something that happened to us as a family. So we were there watching her train. I was with the camera all the time, and so we were trying really to be supportive. But yeah, it was happening as this journey followed. So yeah.
Paltrocast.
This is the Paltrobox. I've literally received the 2 largest boxes I've ever received before. Rather than waste everybody's time with dealing with getting them on and off the table, I'm gonna skip forward a little bit so you see what's inside them. So you can see here we have 2 identical boxes. We'll go with this one first. Really no idea what is inside. They're so big that we can barely film them over here. I have to walk around to literally cut more tape. Okay. Hopefully I don't knock over the camera. Okay, well packed over here. Keep refrigerated, perishable. No cutter, I'm not sure what that means. I see a bunch of boxes in here. Warm bowls, Bonduelle Savor, I hope I'm saying that right. Ginger teriyaki with teriyaki sauce. Looks like there's 4 of them in here, 290 calories. Distributed by Ready Pack Foods Inc. of Irwindale, California. Let's see if there's more of that in here. If it's just a lot of teriyaki bowls, I would be excited if they were. That seems like a great on-the-go kind of lunch. If it is, we'll skip ahead a little bit. Wellness, cashew edamame. How many calories? 250 calories. Pretty good in the vitamins and the minerals. Also the Ready Pack. Okay, yeah, looks like that's all the same. So are they teriyaki bowls and salad bowls? Different kind of one. Bowls loaded. Grilled chicken and guacamole. Saw Santa Maria, California on there. We'll just put more about the company in there. Irwindale Ready Pack Foods at Bonduelle Foods on Instagram. 350 calories. So these seems like healthy, great things that I could bring to work, that Melissa can bring to work. And there's still more boxes in there. Wow. This is off the charts generous, Bonduelle. I really appreciate you sending all this, and I'll check some expiration dates. Another kind of salad. Okay, so you have a lot of variety and offerings in here. Wellness apple feta, gut positive apple cider vinegar. When is it good until June 6th? Okay, so we just have like a week or so to enjoy some of these. So if there's anybody in our lives that are watching this and you want some salads, I think we're going to be sharing rather than eating 12 salads a day. And this second box, it might be more salads. We'll just show it again. Wow, this is the most salads and bowls I've ever seen unboxed. The biggest packages I've ever gotten. Thank you so much for sending. We'll see. So tightly packed, taking up so much space at home.
Paltrocast.